Anderson-Kyoto merger documents were spread across the mahogany table like a paper city. 12 months of work, countless all-nighters, and more sacrifice than he cared to count. His phone buzzed. 11:47 p.m. Julia's text read, "Dad asked about you again. When are you coming home?" Marcus stared at the message. His daughter was 8 now. 8 years old, and he'd missed her last 3 birthdays because of deals just like this one. He typed back, "Soon, sweetheart. 2 more days and Daddy gets a break. Promise." He added a heart emoji and set the phone down, guilt settling in his chest like a stone. The door opened. Trevor Hastings walked in. 26 years old, Harvard dropout, and the CEO's nephew. He wore a suit that cost more than Marcus's monthly rent and carried the kind of confidence that came from never having to earn anything. "Still here, Chen?" Trevor's voice dripped with manufactured concern. "You know, work-life balance is important. That's what Uncle Richard always says." Marcus forced a smile. "Just finished the final review. The signing is Thursday. Everything needs to be perfect." Trevor picked up one of the contracts, barely glancing at it. "About that, Uncle Richard wants me to present the deal to the board tomorrow. You know, get some executive exposure." Something cold crawled up Marcus's spine. "Trevor, with respect, this is my project. I've been lead counsel for 12 months. Yep, I know. And you've done great work, really. But this is about optics. The clients need to see fresh energy. Young blood. No offense, but you're what, 42? 43? 39. Right. Anyway, I'm presenting. Uncle Richard already approved it. Oh, and he wants to see you first thing tomorrow, 8 a.m. sharp. Something about restructuring." After Trevor left, Marcus sat in the silence. Restructuring. That word was never good. He pulled out his phone and scrolled through his contacts, stopping at David Okonkwo's name. David had been his mentor when Marcus first joined Hastings & Blackwell 7 years ago, a senior partner who'd seen the potential in a kid from public school who'd worked his way through community college and law school. The call went to voicemail. "David, it's Marcus. I think something's wrong. Call me when you can." He gathered the documents into neat stacks, each page representing a piece of his soul. The Anderson-Kyoto deal was worth $180 million. It was the kind of deal that made careers, that bought houses, that paid for college funds, and gave daughters the stability their fathers never had. Marcus drove home through empty streets, rain hammering his windshield. His apartment was dark. Elena, his ex-wife, had picked up Julia hours ago for her week of custody. The silence felt oppressive. He heated up leftover Chinese food and sat at the kitchen table, staring at the calendar on his phone. Thursday was circled in red. The bonus, $75,000, would hit his account by Friday. He'd already planned everything. $10,000 to Elena for back child support, $5,000 to his mother's medical bills, the rest split between Julia's college fund, and finally, getting ahead of his debts.
Sleep came in fragments. He dreamed of his father's funeral, of being 14 and watching his mother cry because she couldn't afford both the casket and the rent. He'd sworn then that Julia would never know that kind of fear. 8 a.m. arrived with the weight of an execution. Richard Hastings' office occupied the entire northeast corner of the building. The CEO sat behind a desk the size of Marcus's living room, Trevor standing beside him like a prince at his father's throne. "Marcus? Sit." Richard didn't look up from his tablet. "I'll be brief. We're making changes. The firm needs to project a certain image, dynamic, forward-thinking. Trevor here is going to be taking over your position as lead counsel." Marcus felt the floor drop away. "Sir, I don't understand. My performance reviews have been excellent, yes, but this isn't about performance. It's about evolution." Richard finally looked at him, and Marcus saw nothing in those blue eyes. No recognition of the 70-hour weeks, the sacrificed weekends, the bleeding ulcer Marcus had developed from stress. You're being transitioned to a consulting role. Reduced hours, reduced compensation. The Anderson-Kyoto deal closes Thursday. I've built relationships with... Trevor will handle the closing. Richard stood, signaling the end of the conversation. HR will have your new contract by the end of day. I suggest you sign it. Jobs are hard to come by these days. Trevor's smile was almost sympathetic. Almost. Hey, Marcus, no hard feelings, right? Business is business. Marcus walked back to his office in a daze. His assistant, Priya, looked up from her desk with worried eyes. Mr. Chen, are you okay? He wasn't. He sat down and pulled up the new contract HR had already emailed. Consulting role, 20 hours a week, $40,000 a year, no bonus. The bonus clause was explicitly terminated, effective immediately. His phone rang. David Okonkwo. Marcus, I just heard. I'm so sorry. I was in Tokyo, just saw your message. What happened? Marcus told him everything, his voice flat, emotionless. When he finished, David was quiet for a long moment. That bonus, were you counting on it? Everything. My daughter, my mom, Marcus pressed his palm against his eyes. I don't know what to do, David. Sign nothing, not yet. Let me make some calls. But Marcus knew how this worked. Richard Hastings owned the firm. Trevor was blood. Marcus was just another lawyer who could be replaced. He spent the day boxing up his office. 12 years of work, law school diplomas, commendations, photos of Julia fit into 3 cardboard boxes. Priya cried when she hugged him goodbye. You're the best boss I ever had, she whispered. Take care of yourself, Priya, and if Trevor asks you to work late, say no. Learn from my mistakes.
That night, Marcus sat in his car in the parking garage, unable to make himself drive home. His phone rang again. Unknown number. Mr. Chen? This is Kenji Yamamoto. I'm the senior negotiator for Kyoto Industries. Marcus's heart stopped. Mr. Yamamoto, what can I do for you? I'm calling because I just received very strange emails from Trevor Hastings claiming to be the new lead counsel on our merger. Mr. Chen, with great respect, we have spent 12 months building trust with you. My company does not appreciate last-minute changes. Can you explain what is happening? Marcus closed his eyes. This was it, the moment that would define everything. He could play politics, protect the firm, maybe salvage his consulting role. Or he could tell the truth. Mr. Yamamoto, I've been removed from the deal. I only learned about it this morning. I don't agree with this decision, but it's not mine to make. Silence. Then, I see. Thank you for your honesty, Mr. Chen. That is why we trusted you. Good night. The call ended. Marcus sat in the dark, rain drumming on the roof of his car, and wondered if he just made everything worse. Wednesday morning, Marcus woke to his phone exploding. 17 missed calls, 23 texts. The first was from Priya. OMG, did you see the news? He pulled up the business section. The headline made his breath catch. Kyoto Industries withdraws from $180 million merger, cites a fundamental breach of trust. The article was devastating. Kenji Yamamoto had released a statement saying Kyoto could not proceed with a firm that treated its most dedicated counsel with such disregard. The deal was dead. $180 million. Gone. Marcus's phone rang. David Okonkwo. Marcus, don't go to the office today. Trust me. All hell is breaking loose. The board is in an emergency session. Richard is trying to blame you for the collapse. Me? I had nothing to do with... I know, and so do the clients. Yamamoto sent a letter to the entire board explaining exactly what happened. He recorded his conversation with you, Marcus. He has you on tape being honest about your removal, expressing concern for the deal. Meanwhile, Trevor's been sending unprofessional emails trying to fast-track closings without proper due diligence. Yamamoto called it arrogant incompetence. Marcus sat down hard on his couch. What happens now? Now, the firm is in crisis. They're losing 3 other major clients who worked with you. Partners are demanding answers. Richard's protection of Trevor is being questioned at the highest levels. David paused. Marcus, I'm part of a group that's been wanting to break away and start our own firm. We've been planning it for months. We want you as a founding partner. What? 20% equity, profit sharing, and we're taking 5 of your old clients with us. They've already committed. We can't offer you $75,000 tomorrow, but we can offer you something better. Ownership, respect, a future. Marcus looked around a small apartment, thought of Julia, of his mother, of all the nights he'd given to a firm that saw him as disposable.
Yes, he said. Yes, I'm in. By Friday, the legal world was buzzing. Hastings and Blackwell had lost $180 million, 4 senior partners, and 18 major clients. Richard Hastings was forced into early retirement by the board. Trevor was quietly reassigned to an office in Tulsa. Marcus stood in the empty suite that would become Okonkwo and Associates, watching workers paint the walls. His phone rang. Elena. Marcus? Julia wants to talk to you. His daughter's voice filled his ear, bright and clear. Daddy, Mommy says you're starting a new job. Are you still going to be busy all the time? Marcus smiled, real and true. No, sweetheart. I'm going to be home for dinner, I promise. And this time, I mean it. That weekend, Kenji Yamamoto sent an email. Kyoto Industries wanted to discuss a new partnership with Marcus's new firm. Terms to be negotiated, trust to be rebuilt. Marcus printed the email and pinned it above his new desk. Below it, he added Julia's drawing of the 2 of them holding hands under a crayon sun. 6 months later, the firm had 12 employees and 6 major clients. Marcus made partner meetings by 3 p.m., coached Julia's soccer team on Saturdays, and took his mother to her doctor's appointments without checking his phone every 5 minutes. The money was good, not great yet, but growing. More importantly, it was his. He saw Trevor once at a legal conference. The young man looked older somehow, deflated. He tried to approach, but Marcus simply nodded and walked past. Some bridges weren't worth rebuilding. 1 year after the firing, Marcus received a handwritten letter from Kenji Yamamoto. It read, "In Japan, we have a saying, 'The bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that resists.' You bent, but did not break. That is why we do business with you. That is why we trust you." Marcus framed the letter next to Julia's drawing. 2 years later, Okonkwo and Associates had grown to 45 employees and was bidding on contracts that dwarfed the Anderson-Kyoto deal. Hastings and Blackwell had merged with a competitor, the name barely surviving. Richard Hastings wrote a memoir that carefully avoided mentioning Trevor's role in the firm's decline. Marcus didn't read it. He was too busy living, really living, for the first time in his adult life. He'd learned that you could sacrifice everything for a company and be discarded in a morning, but you could also bet on yourself, surround yourself with people who valued loyalty, and build something that mattered. On the 3-year anniversary of his firing, Marcus took Julia to the new office building, a sleek glass tower in the financial district. She looked up at the sign, Okonkwo, Chen, and Associates. "That's your name, Daddy," she said, pointing. "It is, sweetheart. And you know what? I'll never let anyone take it away from me again." That night, as he tucked Julia into bed, she asked, "Daddy, were you scared when you lost your old job?" Marcus thought about those dark days in the parking garage, the weight of failure, the uncertainty that had nearly crushed him. Yes, he admitted, I was terrified. But you're happy now, right? He kissed her forehead. I am. Because I learned something important. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is actually the best thing. It pushes you towards something better, something you were too afraid to reach for on your own. Julia smiled sleepily. Like when I fell off my bike and then learned to ride without training wheels? Exactly like that. As Marcus left her room, his phone buzzed. An email from Kenji Yamamoto with the subject line, New Opportunity, $240 million. He smiled and set the phone aside. It could wait until morning. Tonight, he was home. Tonight, he was exactly where he needed to be. And Trevor Hastings, wherever he was in Tulsa, was learning the hardest lesson of all, that privilege could open doors, but character was what kept them open. That nepotism could grant position, but respect had to be earned. In the end, the scoreboard didn't lie. Preparing and narrating this type of story took us long efforts and hard work, so if you are enjoying the story, please consider subscribing to our channel. Marcus had won, not by being ruthless, not by seeking revenge, but by being honest, building relationships, and refusing to compromise his integrity, even when it cost him everything. The city lights glittered outside his window. Somewhere in those buildings, someone else was working late, sacrificing everything, hoping their loyalty would be rewarded. Marcus hoped they'd learn faster than he had, that they deserved better, that they were worth more. He poured himself a whiskey and raised the glass to his reflection in the window. To second chances, he said quietly, and to know your worth. The glass caught the light, amber and gold, full of promise.